When the doctors told me that I had brain cancer and the short amount of time that they expected me to live, I immediately got scared, but also felt that God would take care of me.
But I was scared. I was petrified when it sank in.
There were so many things that were planned, just I was thinking about graduating college and how I wanted, my parents to see that.
When we came here, it was the very first time, it was Easter Sunday, 3 years ago.
And it was amazing.
From the minute we walked in, from the hellos at the door to the friendly faces everywhere, people just embracing us, and we had never met them before. And it was just a calming, peaceful feeling.
Yeah, the Easter sermon is such a powerful sermon that we were so moved by it. We knew we'd be back.
The music was great, the people were amazing, and we finally found out what a church was really like.
And 3-4 months later, we were baptized here.
That was amazing. The whole family got baptized at the same time.
And it was more of just a re-cleansing, we felt like, because I think we'd all been baptized before. But this was just made it so much more special, made us feel part of the church.
My sister came in from New Orleans and did the baptism, and I told her that day, I said, I finally know what you've meant all this time about a church family. Never really got that, but we get it now.
From there, we really got into the church. I actually started at the youth on Thursday nights, and that was a lot of fun.
Before I found out, I felt like I was very close with God, and that's why I think He chose me to go through this ordeal so I could share my story.
We talked a lot about how God prepared us for what was going to happen on July 28th, 2010.
One day I woke up and one part of my body felt kind of weird. I thought I was having a stroke. I was feeling a fatigue on the left-hand side of my body.
What I remember most about that morning was he went to get out of the bed and he goes, watch this. And he took his left arm and pressed down on the bed to lift himself up. And he had no strength. Do you remember that? Yeah. No strength in his hand. The whole bed shook. And I said, oh no, there's something wrong here. So he wanted to go to the doctor. You didn't want to go to the emergency room. I had to call his boss and speak to him, and he met me at the emergency room.
First thing they did when I walked in, I told him, I said, I think I might be having a stroke.
So they took us in the back, and within a matter of 20 minutes, came back and said that he had a tumor.
He said, looks like it's about the size of a lemon, but it has to come out because we can tell that it's growing. And eventually, it's going to kill you.
I was so shocked, how could it happen?
That was a lot. You never think, honestly, and people say this all the time, you never think it can happen to you or someone you love. It only happens to other people. So there's the initial, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You better check that again. There's just no way. And then the confirmation is just, wow. So I was angry. How did we not know this earlier? How did I not know the signs? And then the guilt kicked in. What a horrible wife I am. Why didn't I see he had cancer? Why didn't I see he had a tumor? Something must have been wrong if all of a sudden he turned into someone I didn't know. And instead of trying to find out what was wrong, I'm hounding him and saying, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. What is wrong with you? Who are you? What is going on? I was petrified when it sank in and we were at the hospital and trying to make plans and thinking about insurance. And then it's like I was getting answer after answer. Oh my gosh, the insurance. All we have is long-term disability. I told him not to get the short-term. Boom. He tells me he has short-term disability. Okay. What about my job? What am I going to do? I travel all the time. Boom. His mom's living with us. It just seemed like every need was followed up by a resolution. We don't have the power to do that. I don't have the power for those kind of resolutions. Oh. So we brought him home, and downhill doesn't even describe really what happened. He couldn't really talk all that well. He couldn't sit up. It was very hard to get him mobile and moving him around. And that morning before church, I was helping him to the bathroom. He fell, and we fell through the shower door. We came to church. And you don't remember a lot of this, but it was one of the most moving and amazing moments of my life. We went in the prayer room after service was over. Everyone was there, and I remember Erica the most, I think, because she was holding my hand. But the prayer, the asking, begging, crying out to God to please help us. There wasn't a dry eye. His family was here. My family was here. When we left, I was like, we got this.
August 3rd was when he had his surgery. We were all in the waiting room, and goodness gracious, there were so many people. It was like when we have our Christmas family gatherings back at home, and like the whole house is filled up full of people and just everywhere, and you're just talking to someone always, and you're never alone.
I can't describe how that felt, to constantly be able to just go hold someone's hand. And I could just go from person to person and just draw strength off whoever I wanted. And then Steve came, and we all got in a circle, and we prayed. And once again, and right after that, the doctor came out, told us that it was grade 4, the worst possible outcome, that they got most of it, but Bill had about 6 to 12 months was what they told us. And Steve looked at me and he goes, in a year, we're gonna do a God story.
I tried not to cry and, break down, because Mom was already doing all that, and both of us couldn't be breaking down at the same time.
I could not have made it through any of this without the strength of my daughter. She never cried a tear the day that we got the news.
It was the hardest day of my life thus far, definitely. My dad's a very strong man. He's very strong, and brave, and he's a great father. I'm blessed to have him. He was so brave throughout it all. And that was really great because, when you don't really know how he's feeling, because you don't know what it's like to go through surgery and have cancer. It was amazing to see how strong he was. He was very brave.
There were some who said, don't tell him what the doctor said yet, just wait. And I thought about that. So I prayed about it, and I knew right then and there I needed to tell him exactly what was going on.
One of my first memories is that conversation when her, my mom, and my sister came in the room. I could tell she didn't have anything good to say. I was scared to hear whatever it was.
And I looked at him and I said, 6 months to 12 months is what they're saying. Yeah. And you know what he said to me? That's what they say. That's the medical prognosis. God has different plans. And that is something that you have said so many times through this whole thing. And to the doctors, they will tell him, you're doing good right now, but okay, all right. I will do everything you tell me to do, but the only person who knows when I'm going to die is God.
When the doctors would give me bad news, I knew I had God on my side, and I'd be able to do things that they didn't expect.
It gave me hope. Seeing how brave he was and how confident he was about things.
And I could feel God giving me strength to fight through this I was his servant. Do with me what you want me to do.
Even beyond the hospital, right? I mean...
Yeah, once I got home.
Yes.
Started the radiation and the chemotherapy. Her brother started doing some research for us.
That's when he sent us the video from Dr. Friedman.
Yeah, who said this type of cancer doesn't have to interrupt your life or even end your life. He said, what we want to do is restore your quality of life. So she called Duke University and asked to speak to
Dr. Friedman.
Dr. Friedman.
I left a message. I said, no, I want to talk to Dr. Friedman. Okay, well, we can certainly get I can leave a message for him. That's fine. And I basically told Dr. Friedman, we were led to you. I know that we were led to you. We need to talk to you. Please call me back. And I was laying in bed. The phone rang. He was sleeping. I said, hello, Dr. Friedman. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Dr. Friedman. And I'm like, from the YouTube videos. He's like, ma'am.
He listened to the facts and he wanted everything.
I want you to come to Duke on such and such a date, bring this, and this, fax this over to me. If you do all of this, then I'll consider entering you into the trial. The trial ended the day that we went to Duke University. If we would have been one day later, he would not have had the trial medications that he needed.
Yeah.
Another God moment for sure.
He took the majority of the tumor out and had to leave behind some residue. By the time I got to Duke, some of that had started regrowing. They had 2 experimental drugs they wanted to try on me. The drugs themselves were so outrageously priced, there's no way we could afford them. It was free being in the trial. It's definitely just like what everybody talks about, that you hear people that have to take chemotherapy. It's definitely, you get very sick. They try to fight it off with anti-nausea drugs, but they hold it back a little bit at best. When I got to the end, they told me I had 2 cycles left. I was like, oh yeah. I was so happy.
We had to go to Duke every 4 months? No, every other month.
Yeah.
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
So they could look at his scan. Every checkup we had, it was positive.
Yeah.
We never got a bad checkup. The tumor's fading. What was left of it. Every day, it was just keep my dad strong.
And we knew where it was coming from. It was all God. This whole thing has been God.
There was many moments where I'd ask God, late at night as you're laying in bed, I've got cancer, I may not be alive this time next year. A lot of scary moments, a lot of scary thoughts. And I just feel this relaxing calm come over me. My last appointment at Duke was October 20th to do what they call a PET scan. That's where they inject a radioactive chemical into you and do like a thorough scan of your whole body. Once we got through with that, we waited for a while to see my main doctor. And after she reviewed it, she came back and she was the one that told me the great news that I was in 100% remission. From here, they said they didn't know what to tell me. They said, because, I beat their expectations.
We didn't have a tumor anymore, and that was great news. That was good stuff.
If we ever had doubts before of just, where are you? Why aren't you here? How did you let this happen? Every day we're reminded. Every day he opens his eyes, we're reminded that he's right here every step of the way.
My faith in God became a lot stronger just through all the miracles that he played in our family.
My first conversation with God after I heard the news was that, thank you, for taking care of me. I don't feel worthy, but for some reason he chose to heal me. And I feel so blessed.